Okay. As we've said to you, each one of these theory sessions is podcast, okay? Which is really good because that means that you can find the information that you need. Now, stage ones, the stuff that we're doing today is applicable to you because you are going to see one performance and you will do one review. That's about the entirety of your written work, okay? It's not really heavy duty. Stage two, people, you're going to really know what's going on because you are going to do the review, but you've got a lot of other work to do as well. So, first of all, I'm just going to talk about the podcasting and where you find it. When you go to the Greenwood site, which is www.greenwood, what is it, SHS?
It's just
greenwood.wa.edu.au, then it's going to be /Moodle. When you go to that, it's going to take you to a login page. On the login page, you need to log in like you log in at school. So however you log in at school, right? Sorry, I think it's /. However you log in at school is how you log in at Moodle, alright?
Moodle.
Now in Moodle, you're going to see, when you've logged in, you're going to see a series of courses. There's one going to be called Drama. When you go into that, it's going to come up with a few different ones, but the one that's important for you guys is the one that says 2012 Theory Sessions, or 2012 Theory. That's where you go. You'll find each of the podcasts from these lessons will be there. So all you need to do is you just need to click on that. It'll go there, and you can listen to any information that you need to listen to. Okay?
It's Cody.
Whatever your proper login is. All right. Now, in terms of today, is that your foot? Get your freaking foot out of my face. All right. In terms of today, it's not a religious school, mate. You're not forgiven. All right. In terms of today, we are going to talk about theatrical spaces, okay? So what we call, now, does anybody know why we call it theatrical spaces and not a theatre? Anybody have a hazard a guess as to why I would not call it a theatre, but I would call it a theatrical space?
Theatre includes the audience, doesn't it?
Sorry?
A theatre includes all the audience space.
Yeah, but let's think a little bit more about that. Girls, why would we call it a theatrical space and not a theatre? Think about it. Yes, Kat? Very obviously, thank you very much. Theatrical spaces are not always in a theatre. Okay, for example, there's been a couple of plays in the past, there's one done recently, where they moved the audience from location to location. So the audience drifted with the play. Okay, it was an Australian play, I can't remember its name, but they had a 2-up session there, and they had that in a certain place, and they had a bar session, they had that somewhere else. Then they had like this sort of like ranch kind of stable setting. They moved them to that setting. So the audience didn't actually ever sit down during the play. The audience actually was constantly standing and constantly being part of the action. It's one of the better ways of getting audience participation, especially when they were doing the 2-up scene. Because the actors were doing the 2-up and they were placed in the audience, but they weren't actually, so that sort of brought the audience into the actual piece as well, because actors standing there talking and the audience member standing next to them. So it was pretty cool. But it wasn't in a theatre, it was in a theatrical space. It was just in various different places. Gemma, shut up. It was just in various different places, and therefore that's why we use the idea of theatrical spaces. Now, theatre can be done anywhere. If you girls continue to talk, I will kick you out. Okay? I'm only going to do this one, so here you go. Because this is actually as important for you to be able to do this. I know it's doing stage 1 and all that sort of stuff, but still, you need to have this information. Okay? All right. Now, regarding this, a theatre space can be anywhere. If you look at Perth, the mall can be a theatre space. You guys have gone in there enough and you've seen people performing in the mall. That can be a theatrical space. Okay, if you go to the Esplanade and you watch like a setup there, a band playing at the Esplanade, that becomes a theatrical space. So wherever you can actually put a performance, that becomes a theatrical space. Most of the theatre spaces that you know tend to be a kind of one way. You guys tend to deal with you guys tend to deal with what we call proscenium arch stages most of the time. So for down there, for example, a proscenium arch stage, which means that we have 3 walls, and then we have what's called the imaginary 4th wall, and the audience usually looks from here, okay? That's where the audience looks at you from, okay? So looking down on it. This is usually a curtain or something of that description, and normally gets pulled aside, but that's where all the stuff comes. The exits and entrances are usually in the side, sometimes from the rear, depending on what the performance is. That's what we call a proscenium arch stage. Now that can take the form of the gym stage, that's a proscenium arch stage. It can be our theatre, that's a proscenium arch stage, right? And that's not confusing at all. I think you guys can get that. Then you have other things. You have what's called, your amphitheatres. Like, for example, the amphitheatre out here. This thing down here has a reasonable amphitheatre kind of feel to it. It's not a real amphitheatre because amphitheatres are sort of constructed in a certain way. Amphitheatres are all about projecting sound. This one here, and I might have taken down there once and got you to do something. You know that if someone's standing on the concrete stage there, you can't actually hear them very well if you're sitting at the back here, because there's nothing to push the sound out. Amphitheatres work in a certain way that allows, while the audience is sitting around like that, amphitheatres allow, there's your skiing house, where people get changed, and there's your stage, and then your arena in front. Amphitheatres are constructed in a certain way that the sound coming off the stage when people are standing here, or standing in this area here, right, can be heard at the top row there. It's constructed in that way. I don't know how they did it, because remember, amphitheatres were constructed during ancient Greece and ancient Rome. So, you have to think about that thing, well, where did they get the whole, cleverness to actually construct something that had such excellent sound properties? Sorry? Where did they get that knowledge from? We don't know. Of course, they did build the pyramids, so who the hell knows? All right? Okay, then you have what's called your Shakespearean thrust stage.
You got it from Google.
You got it from Google, yes. That's usually how it goes. Then you have what's called your Shakespearean thrust stage. Does everybody know what a thrust stage looks like? Anybody got a bit of a clue? Yes?
It's like really weird shaped books.
It kind of thrusts, it thrusts out into the audience, all right? Now, the Shakespearean stages tend to have what's called balconies up the top, right? So they tend to have walkways at the top of the stage, so that's above the stage, and then the stage tends to thrust out into the audience, so the audience is gathered around the stage. The reasons for that, I'm not really sure. I think the whole idea was to kind of make the audience sort of like more involved in what was going on in terms of the performance. But at the end of the day, I think we have to actually look it up. It's one of the things you will be doing, because today you are going to select a specific type of theatrical stage, and you're going to do a little bit of research on that stage and just sort of say, okay, well, we're going to find out what the properties of that stage were, what went on with that stage, and what kind of performances took place. So you're going to be doing that today. All right, so there was the Shakespearean thrust stage, and now today, your stages today tend to be all sorts of different things. Okay, you do have your traditional stages. If you go to His Majesty's Theatre, they have a traditional thrust stage at the His Majesty's Theatre. Right, so it's really different. It's really unusual. It was built a long time ago. It has a certain look to it. We are actually going to go. Those of you who want to go, because we've got a Perspectives performance to see.
Oh yeah.
Right, that's the solo performances from year 12, the best solo performances from year 12 last year. So those of you who want to see that, I'm going to put that up for you guys so we can actually find out who wants to go. It won't be very expensive. It's in town, not in Northbridge, which means that you won't get mugged. Like you did last time. Northbridge has got a lot of weirdos in it. No one got mugged. We did try to get me get mugged, but we couldn't find anybody who wanted to do it. So. Right. The other thing is, and what you guys tend to be what you are commonly used to in terms of stage space is what we call just blank stages, where there is actually no real structure to it. When you work in a high school, you tend to get that a lot. Most of the stage spaces around the metropolitan area, most of the school stage spaces, tend to be just open areas, which become really quite adaptable to any type of performance that you want. Our stage there, before we divided it into carpet and Tarquette, you know, which gave us a definitive stage, and before we put the curtain in, that was just a space. And you could do any kind of, you could stage a performance any way that you like. So, for example, when we did a performance of, I think it was Summer of the Aliens by Louis Nowra, in our stage space, that's our stage, as you know, there's my office door. We actually had the audience here. So the audience was sitting here, and the set was here, and the set was there. Right? So the audience was, so the scenes kept shifting from this to here, and we even used the centre of the stage occasionally for different pieces. And how we divided it was by using lighting, because lighting becomes very effective there. You can light up one section of the stage, the audience naturally turns its attention to that section of the stage. You light the others, they turn their attention to that. You light up the centre, they look at the centre. You know, that's the beauty of having a big space. Those of you who saw Sherlock Holmes, once again, we use this form of staging. We use this in plays. This is particularly good in terms of theatre space when you have a play that has a lot of scenes, a lot of different scenes. The play you're about to do, Rome Sweet Rome, doesn't really have a lot of scenes in terms of lots of different areas. You've really just got Nero's throne room, you've got the House of the Afflicted, and you've got Badisha's camp. They are the you're right there, Badisha? Yeah, you should be good as a woman. Yeah, you'd be good. You actually did very well as a woman. You actually were very convincing.
Yeah, I know.
But you were manly.
I've been working
But a
on
woman. But manly. But still.
And then the song just topped it off.
Eh?
The song just topped it off.
I was actually quite...
What makes you beautiful by One Direction?
I actually was quite scared for my life at the time, and you know, but still, these two really scared the hell out of me. You're going to know why when they do their bit on today.
Who got Wimpus?
Daniel Conn.
Who's
Daniel.
it?
Yeah.
You know, he didn't actually go for the part, but he did a couple of bits during his audition, which were just classic Little Wimpy moments, and I just thought, you are a winner.
Did Travis get a part?
Yeah, they got a part. Yeah, it's on the board, mate. Anyway, so going on. So that's what you can do with big open spaces. Those of you who did the Stage 2 exam last year were given an example of a space and something that you could do in that space, and that was for a presentational performance. Remember that? And where you had, where they was, no, you don't, no, of course not, because you didn't turn up to Disney Gemma. You don't even remember being at school. Remember school? That was that place you came from.
January last year?
Yeah. Alright, and that was one type of staging. Alright, so this is what you are doing today. It's not intense work, but what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to get onto the internet. Alright, this is particularly critical for stage 3. Hang on, before you start, pay attention to what you're going to do. Okay, stage 3s. This is how we're going to divide this up. Stage 3s. Okay, you're looking generally at spaces of performance. So I want you to research theatrical spaces, including theatres and whatever you can get your hands on. Right? What I want you to do with that stage 3s is the up. What I want you to do that is I just want you to get a bit of an idea of the different stages out there, different types of stages that you can get, and I want you to also see if you can find some more information on contemporary staging and the way that they do that. Okay? Yes? Yes, they do. And the stage 3 one they do. Stage 2s. I want you to look at thrust stages, and I want you to look at amphitheatres.
Stage 1.
Stage 1s, just research one stage, one type of stage. Okay? What I want you to find out is what that stage is, how it was used. How it was used, right? And that's pretty much it. And the sorts of performances that they did there. Okay, so that's what everyone's going to do. Alright, that's where it starts. Let's go, boys and girls.
I don't remember my password.
Oh, you have to go and see Roderick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay.
but you can do things.
Oh yeah, what do you mean you can't sing? All I hear is everything ends on my What do you call that?
Buddy, sir.
Yep.
I wouldn't be looking at Shakespearean thrust stage or just thrust stage in general.
You pick two. You've got there's only one thrust stage, that's Shakespeare.
That is.
Yeah, has good with that design.
Password has been changed. Woo!
Stage 3 is the most important thing here is that you get a bit of a clue as the types of staging that is out there. Okay?
Press enter. Wait, I've got this.
You don't give